Iran has threatened to use never-before-used weapons against Israel if it retaliates. At stake for the West Asian nation is their expensive economic diversification plans, which were aimed at securing their future post-fossil fuels and rely on a peaceful environment and business tourism. When Iran attacked Israel over the weekend, Jordan intercepted multiple missiles and drones. However, King Abdullah has stressed that his country must not become the theater of a regional war. Just last weekend, Jordan was among a group of nations that also included the United States, United Kingdom and France, who helped Israel shoot down missiles, rockets and attack drones launched by Iran. Apart from the Gaza war, Jordan now faces the additional threat of being stuck in the middle of a widening Israel-Iran conflict. King Abdullah, in a phone call with US President Joe Biden, called for quote-unquote de-escalation. Jordan stressed its aim was to safeguard its own sovereignty rather than defend Israel. In anticipation of a possible Israeli response, Jordan's army said that it is increasing air sorties to prevent any airspace infringement and defend the kingdom's skies. Other Gulf states are also grappling with the widening West Asia conflict. They say it threatens their security and ambitious plans to reshape their economies. Earlier this week, Qatar's Emir spoke to the Iranian president about the need to reduce all forms of escalation and avoid the expansion of the conflict in the region. UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed too, he spoke to Qatar's Emir and the kings of Jordan and Bahrain, while Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman talked to Iraq's Prime Minister. Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry spoke with his counterpart in Iran, and the Saudi defense minister held discussions with his US counterpart. Meanwhile, Oman, which is close to Iran, remains a vital point of mediation. Cairo too has expressed deep concerns at the escalation of hostilities and called for maximum restraint. The foreign ministry said that Egypt would be in direct contact with all parties to the conflict to try and contain the situation. Now, on the other hand, according to state news agency Sana, Syrian Foreign Minister Faiz al-Mekdad told his Iranian counterpart in a phone call that Iran's response is a legitimate right to self-defense. Now, our correspondent Jody Cohen gets us more from Renana. She talks about the delay in Israel's third war cabinet meeting.
So according to reports, the War Cabinet meeting on Tuesday evening was postponed to Wednesday with no reason provided. But another report I've seen suggested that the War Cabinet did actually meet on Tuesday lunchtime, and an Israeli official reportedly came out of that meeting and said that Israel's plan is to keep Iran guessing about its response in terms of what Israel's response would be and when its response would be, and said that the response could be within Iran or outside Iran. And a senior US official has reportedly said that the US expects Israel's response would include a limited strike on Iranian territory. Now, I've been speaking with experts here, and they've said that the response could take the form of a targeted strike against Iranian Revolutionary Guards around the world, or a strike on an Iranian proxy such as Hezbollah, which has been firing rockets into Israel since the 8th of October. That's the day after Hamas's 7th of October attack. Or we could see something like a cyber attack or a strike on an Iranian facility.
Now, to take this further, we've been joined by Joachim Bitterlich from Paris. He is the former German ambassador to NATO and former European diplomatic and security advisor to German Chancellor Helmut Kohl. Welcome to the broadcast, Mr. Bitterlich. I want to ask you, after being in a shadow war for decades, the Iran-Israel conflict is out in the open now. Do you think this changes the unsaid rules between the two countries?
I do not hope so, but you're right with your analysis, because it's interesting to listen to your colleagues talking about the different possibilities. Any response to Iran carries risks, it's clear, but it was Iran who has been changing the unspoken, let's say, the unspoken rules of this long-running shadow war between Israel and Iran, by the way, who have been 50 years ago allies. Let's not forget this. But all choices have potential drawbacks, it's clear. And for the moment, it's interesting. Israel is wise not to speak about the different possibilities or about the potential possibilities. The result is Iran is trying to raise the tension. Again, speaking about new arms. What are the new arms? New missiles, perhaps. I don't think it's nuclear, because you don't speak about nuclear in general. But you have to be aware that you are in the Middle East. And the Middle East is, and this applies especially to Iran, is irrational and not really rational. So if you act rational, they should talk now. The time is now ripe for talks. And Iran is only waiting for one moment. But the US would talk to them, no one else. And
Right.
this is the key somewhere, and where the Americans are in the campaign, actually, and the Saudis are looking at this from the other side, and therefore, let's say, I have not real deep hopes in talks about the conflict.
All right. Sir, I want to take your reaction on something that's just coming in. The British Foreign Minister, David Cameron, has just met with Israeli President Isaac Herzog, and he was just speaking to the reporters a while ago, and he says that it's clear that the Israelis are making a decision to act. What is your reaction? What should one expect?
That's to act, but what does it mean? To act means all. Can it mean, let's say, an attack of Israelis against Hezbollah in Lebanon? This may be an attack against the Houthis, but this may be even a limited attack to the Revolutionary Guardians somewhere else. But I've doubts whether the Israelis will raise the conflict by a direct attack to Iran. I've doubts about it, but you will never know in this conflict.
Right, sir, let's speak about Iran then. When Iran threatens to use quote-unquote never-before-used weapons, if Israel retaliates, that is, how should one read into that?
Well, but this could mean new arms, new types of missiles, better missiles, more developed missiles, but it could be nuclear without mentioning it, because it's clear the Iranians dispose about the necessary fuel for about 5 to 6 nuclear weapons, which experts tell me. And therefore, but I don't think it will be nuclear, because in a nuclear strategy, you will never mention the word nuclear. You will not talk about it. And I don't think it's nuclear. It would be nuclear if the Israelis attacked directly the nuclear capabilities of Iran. Then yes. Then retaliation could be nuclear, but
All right,
not
sir.
in this sense.
All right, thank you so much.
Not
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.